I always told myself like, man, like I don't need that. Like I'm okay. Like I don't think there's anything wrong with me. And like, being able to see him, who's like obviously way over me, he's my dad, to be able to break that stigma for me about like therapy, because he went to therapy before I did, kind of dealing with some like stuff surrounding like my diagnosis with like cancer and stuff like that. And I think him breaking the boundary for me, and so like that's really inspirational. And I hope that like young men, older men, if you feel like there's so many options if you're uh, having anxiety or stress or depression, beyond like there's therapy, there's talk
Mhm.
therapy, there's so many different types of therapy, there's medication, like there's support groups, there's so many good options that it's like totally okay. If you're facing mental health issues, you're totally good.
Yeah.
Like, so that I'm really glad to be a part of that, and to be kind of like a symbol of that. I'm glad like my dad is too, and I'm glad you are as well.
Oh, everyone, we're having a lot of fun behind the scenes here. I'm bringing on one of my We Are TGH family members here. Sean, great to see you, and thanks for finally joining a mental health break.
Of course, dude. I'm really excited. This is really fun to be a part of. So,
Yeah, definitely long overdue. I go back with Sean for a few years now. We do our yearly visit to Tallahassee, the state capital, where we go with TGH. We share our stories. We advocate for the great care that they've gave us, and of course, break down mental health stigma, which is what we hope to do today with this conversation. So if it's your first time joining or viewing on with us, welcome to A Mental Health Break, the number one podcast for mental health advocates, or as I call mental health champions. I've been putting out a weekly show with a courageous individual each week since January 2020, and that has led us all the way up to Sean today. He's going to share his story in just a bit, but again, going to show some love to TGH and the TGH PFAC. They brought us together. Sean, I know you live in Tallahassee. He's a senior at FSU coming up, but what's your favorite part about the We Are TGH Day experiences?
oh my gosh. Well, probably the fun part is we always do like a mock. We do like a mock Senate hearing. That's always super cool. But I genuinely I love talking to the lawmakers. We've had. I mean, I've gone. Oh my gosh, I think two or three. No, I've gone three times now. And it's really been like an amazing experience, especially like just knowing that we're making a difference, and especially I've spoken to some wonderful, wonderful lawmakers. Um, and like, man, it just feels good to speak with the people who are making the changes. And there's so many times I feel like sometimes I advocate about certain things, and it's like I don't know if this is getting to the people who maybe like need to hear it, or like who can make those changes. So that's probably the most special part, and they're so receptive, and that's probably, it's just so great, especially for TGH. Like they're oh my gosh, so wonderful, so wonderful.
Couldn't have said it better. You go there, and it's more than just a piece of paper on their desk at that point. They actually see a face to the story that they're reading about. Um, I'm at a loss for words on exactly how to describe each weekend, but it's always memorable. You always meet a few more people in the TGH family. This year, unfortunately, we don't have one because we had the two last year, and now we're getting ready for one more. I don't know how the schedule works with the legislative sessions, but hopefully we get two. But now
Oh my
let's come back to mental health. You are a senior heading into your senior year at FSU. I wish you an incredible last year, but we all know through coursework and college stress, sometimes it can become a lot. What are some things you do to take care of your mental health, Sean?
Biggest thing is I'm a big I'm not exactly a big planner, but I really like to take some time, making sure I have time for myself. I feel like I'm a very busy person. I'm a music major, and if you're familiar with being a music major at all, it's like running from a practice room to classes to concerts to rehearsals. Like we're running around constantly on top of I'm music education too, so we do uh like we do practicum, we do internships. Like it's a lot. And being a college student, like there's also all this other fun stuff you get to do as a college student. And there's kind of and people talk about like college experience and stuff. My biggest thing is like taking time for yourself, taking time like between the coursework, between like the rehearsals, between the classes to make sure like you're sitting down, you're taking care of yourself. Whether that mean like, hey, I just need to sit down and watch TV for an hour, like take a mental break, like take a, I don't need to be doing my studies, or it's like, hey, I need to make sure I'm eating. I need to make sure I'm eating well and not forgetting meals or things like that. I love cooking. And so big thing is like eating on campus is like not always the greatest thing. So it's like,
Yeah.
making sure I plan and say like, I'm gonna have like a good meal tonight, or I'm gonna have a good meal for lunch, things like that. Or like taking time, saying like, oh, I need a break. I'm having this Friday coming up, I'm doing something with my friends, or I'm going out of town for the weekend, or things like that. Get things on the schedule that you're gonna look forward to. And I feel like when you get a good like I said, I'm not a huge planner person. When you find those breaks that you then get to like look forward to, if it's like a little break or like a big break, those are really good. And it also makes me feel better, especially for like stress and things, to be able to plan my coursework and my rehearsals and other things around those to make sure I know I'm also getting those in and I'm being successful in that regard. Like I'm gonna go be a teacher, and it's like making sure I'm like on top of my work, on top of like taking care of the students and stuff like that, while taking care of myself and things like that. So I think big thing is like planning. Well, I say I'm not a big planner, but I taking your time for those types of things. Yeah.
Well, I love what you said there, basically the self-care checks throughout the day. Did I make time for this? Have I made time for that? Love how you talked about the mental health day. You said on Fridays, I'm hanging out with the boys. You're doing these things, something I talk about, and Mr. Lanci talks mental health, taking breaks throughout the day, taking that mental health day each week. They're so important in this go, go, go. And it seems like you're doing pretty well for yourself. You've got a lot organized there for being as busy you are. Can't wait to see all the great things you accomplish. We talked about some mental health tips. We talked about We Are TGH Day. I want to talk more about you now. Tell us what you have going on in your life. What's life like for you heading into summer?
Yeah, man. I mean, life's going pretty well. I'm going on in October. I'm going on 4 years since I was diagnosed with like osteosarcoma. And 4 years since my last chemotherapy.
All
So
right.
that's been going great. And like we have like surveillance scans, and we're moving up to a year now, and that's like a big accomplishment. I'm also part of
Absolutely.
yeah, man. Thanks. I'm also part of the it's the MIB Agents. It's an osteosarcoma nonprofit, and I'm part of their like junior advisory board. And we actually just had our like monthly meeting yesterday, and so it was good to see all of them and like know like that's something I just joined this year, and like that's really exciting to be a part of. And like I mean, I know that I'm making a difference in my like cancer community, I suppose, on like a larger scale. Like they're really great. I guess some like other fun stuff besides all like the big old medical stuff is I don't know. I'm a published composer that I just got published this year. I'm a choral composer. Um
Congratulations on that.
which
You're on fire.
Thank you, thank you. I never thought that was going to happen, so that was incredible. I made some wonderful connections up at Florida State. I just had a piece published in March. I'm getting another one out in September, so I'm still working out like logistics for that. So that's also like super exciting. I'm still in school too, like I'm in school over the summer, so still grinding, I suppose.
Oh man, you're
But
living life. You're crushing it.
yeah.
You said 4 years since your last chemo?
Oh my God, yeah, yeah.
That's incredible. That just made my day that much better. True inspiration here. You can see in the midst of all this adversity, he's out here, not enough hours in the day for this guy. How many classes do you have left in the fall and the spring since you're doing summer now?
Gosh, I take I take a ridiculous number of classes. I think I'm still so. I think so. My first semester of freshman year, I took like 13. Half of them were like zero, half of them were like 1 credit, and then a handful were like normal 4 credit classes. I think I got like 8 going up for the fall. It's ridiculous.
8 classes in one semester?
Yeah, it's senior year too. I thought I'd be like on the home stretch, like
Ooh,
four.
yeah.
No,
Wow.
it's
You're gonna be
I don't
okay.
know
You'll be
why. I don't
okay.
know. It's a weird phenomenon with like music majors. I don't Nobody told me this when I signed up to go to college for music. I don't I don't I thought it was gonna be like normal. Like my girlfriend's like a business major. Well, she's a business major and she's getting a dual degree in or in a physical therapy. And she takes like 5 classes. And I'm like, what the heck? Like why
Yeah,
like
I
this
mean,
doesn't I don't know. So
hey, we have an ambitious household over there. I believe I met her at the last VRTGH
yes,
day.
yeah, you
Yep.
did. Yeah,
Yeah, that
so
was great.
so
Well, I mean, dude, you'll be fine. You're a hard worker. I'm sure all those things will work itself out. We've learned all about him today. We learned about all the amazing things he's over. I mean, Sean, I can't get over that. 4 years since chemo, because last time I saw you is probably I guess 2 Januaries ago. I don't
yeah.
know. Or was it
Or
November? The
well,
la the last
I think it was
TGH day.
November. It was November.
Yeah,
I
and
can't
we,
remember
we
either.
we catch up so briefly. It's
I
so we are
know.
TGH Day, everyone, is a jam-packed day. You get there the night before. We're all at the same hotel. We take the bus over to the state capitol, and your schedule is pretty much just filled. Not only speaking with legislators, there's a lot of great activities to do out there. Um, I mean, it's certainly a great experience. The mock session's always a standout for me as well, where you kind of put yourself in the shoes of someone in the Senate. You're actually in their seats. They have their name tags and whatever.
Yeah.
Well, Sean, what else do you want to touch on today before I get your contact info for everyone to say hello?
I mean, um, I don't know. I mean, I'm really glad to be part of this. I think like especially I'm glad to be as like a young man, I guess. I was
Yeah,
diagnosed with bone cancer when I was like 16 and I was pretty positive through the whole thing. I kind of had some hardships through with like mental health during college, and I think just as like a young man, I it's a pretty much stigmatized. So I'm really happy to be a part of this. I'm really happy that you Vincent are like doing this because you know, especially so like my father, who I thought was like the toughest guy, like he works for the sheriff's office down in Tampa, um and stuff like that. He probably opened me up to like going to therapy and stuff like that, and that is something I always told myself, like, man, like I don't need that, like I'm okay, like I don't think there's anything wrong with me. And like, you know, being able to see him, who's like obviously way over me, he's my dad, to be able to break that stigma for me about like therapy, because he went to therapy before I did, kind of dealing with some like stuff surrounding like my diagnosis with like cancer and stuff like that. And I think him breaking the boundary for me, and so like that's really inspirational. And I hope that like young men, older men, if you feel like there's so many options if you're you know uh, having anxiety or stress or depression, you know, beyond like there's therapy, there's talk
mhm.
therapy, there's so many different types of therapy, there's medication, like there's support groups, there's so many good options that it's like totally okay if you're facing mental health issues, you're totally good.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so that I'm really glad to be a part of that, and to be kind of like a symbol of that. I'm glad like my dad is too, and I'm glad you are as well. So
Well, thanks for
yeah.
the kind words and thank you so much for your time today. Something we used to do maybe the first 2 years of the show is these spotlight stories where I talk about the mental health of someone famous to let everyone know they're not alone. Um, on a quick side tangent, as I'm podcasting, I start this, and those could take maybe 10 minutes of banter after the story. We haven't even gotten to the guest yet, and most listeners probably tuned out because I already spent 10 minutes not even talking about the guest. So now I don't do them. They're much quicker episodes. But we did Kevin Love in the NBA, and he
Mhm.
talks about how he was a kid. His dad said, "You're a man. You mask those emotions. You mask those feelings because you're a man." Now, because of courageous guests like you, even as we're recording this, we don't have too many recorded right now. We just had like 3 or 4 men in a row, which is like very, very rare. It's very,
Mhm.
very rare to have 4 men in a row on a mental health break, but more and
Yeah.
more are coming out just like you. So thank you so much for your story share today. Thank you so much for your time and TGH. And if anyone's viewing or listening on, thank you for all you do. Now, Sean, where can everybody find you online to say hello?
Oh man, I guess you can find me. I guess I have an Instagram. I have a Facebook. I don't know. I don't have anything official. I guess.
How about this?
Um,
What's the best email for you?
You can email me at barnettsean at gmail.com. Barnett BARNETTESEAN at gmail.com.
All right.
Yeah, man, I'm more than welcome. I mean, if you want to reach out, I don't care. you know,
You
yeah,
never know whose life you impacted the most today. Something in
yeah,
your story really may have hit home with someone. So I always appreciate when you share an email or something for the guests to say hello.
absolutely.
Everyone, be sure to stay on the lookout for Sean. You saw how busy he is. He's going to do something real big, real soon, and I can't wait to support him through it. I am at Vincent A. Lanci on all social and YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to me on YouTube for some video clips a few weeks after this show goes live. With that, we are signing off with another A Mental Health Break episode. Sean, thanks so much.
Thank you, Vincent.